nothing ever gets done because of one person. And she has actually been, when she became the CEO, she put together this incredible team of people. I don't know, has anybody here from the DNCC team, that senior team that Leah put together? If you are, would you please stand up, and we should all, I guess nobody's here because they're all working, they're terrified the convention starts in 3 days. But everything that gets done is relative teamwork, and Leah has been a great captain of that team. We really appreciate it. And so there's two things I want to say to you. One is a little bit about the teamwork. You're here, and you're going to have a great time, and we're going to get a lot of work out of you. But when this is all done, there's a lot of work to be done here. One of the things that Barack has done in his campaign is recognize that we need to restore community to America, to a sense of community. We've had 30 years of really ugly, divisive politics based on the idea that if you scapegoat certain groups and make people mad at them, that's a good reason for people to come out and vote against them instead of for you. It's incredibly destructive to the country. So we're trying to reach out and touch all kinds of people we haven't talked to before. That was part of the 50-state strategy. But it is based on the fact that personal contact matters. So one of the things when you go back to your home states, and for those of you who are here, visiting here from another country, first of all, welcome. Second of all, we'll do our best to get you a little extra visas, because even though you can't vote here, we can sure knock on doors. But what we really need you to do is sign up, if you haven't already done so, in the Obama campaign in your home state. And go to work knocking on doors. And this is a different kind of door knocking. This is not knock on the door in the last 3 weeks and hand out some literature. All that's important and it works. This is develop a relationship. We want you to knock on 40 doors 4 times and get 2 other people to do the same. And we also, and talk to those people, because you really do have power with your neighbors and with the people you have something in common with. And they're going to believe you before they're going to believe Bill O'Reilly and Rush Limbaugh and all those talking heads on television, Lou Dobbs, all those wonderful people on television that we all respect and love so much. But that's how you win back countries. You know, the biggest mistake my generation was a generation of enormous change. And we were very confrontational, and we did change America. But then we decided it was changed, and that was great. And we kind of turned inward and paid attention to our careers and our families and never politics. That was a big mistake, because democracy is a human creation. And all human creations die if you don't nurture them. So your job as a generation is going to make sure that democracy continues, and you can lose democracy. Democratic states have been lost before. But your job is to make sure as you grow older and have kids of your own and families of your own, that you never forget your country, because you owe something to your community. And that means you not only have to register to vote, you get a D for registering to vote. That's barely passing. If you want to get a C or a B or an A, you've got to do things like work in campaigns. You've got to run for office yourself. If you don't want to run for Congress or president, that's fine, but we need you to go out and be involved in your community. Take responsibility, whether it's the school board or the local planning board or the county commissioner's office. All that stuff is really important, because democracy works when everybody has something to say about it. It doesn't work when you leave it up to people who have lots of money and who buy their way into Congress or into office. It only works when ordinary people say, this is what's important to us. And your generation has been terrific about this. And the second part of this is to talk about your generation. Your generation is an amazing generation. I happen to have 2 children in your generation, so I'm a little biased about this. But it is extraordinary. You have done more traveling and more service work on your own than certainly we ever did. And we did a lot of interesting stuff. Ours was a generation of the Peace Corps under Senator President Kennedy and so forth. But you have done extraordinary things. And you see yourselves as citizens of the world, not just citizens of a particular country, which is very helpful. And you know how to use the internet, which in my opinion is the most self-empowering invention since the printing press was invented 500 years ago. The most important invention for maintaining democracy. So you're already well on the way of doing the things that have to be done to nurture democracy, but you have to do them. Let me tell you something about your generation statistically. Because this election, which is going to result in Barack Obama being the next president of the United States of America, future. You have a generational change. Dick Nixon represented the old generation. Jack Kennedy represented the new generation. Barack Obama represents your generation. He's 47 years old. That's older than what I consider to be the cutoff, 34, 35. But he thinks like you do, and he understands some things that in my generation we look at differently. So I want to tell you a little bit about your generation. You can see if you agree with me or not. Statistically, in 2004, your voter turnout was up 20%. The gospel is, well, people don't vote if they're young. They just talk about the game. Up 20%, you voted 56% for John Kerry. In 2006, your turnout was up 24% over 2002, the previous off-year election. And you voted 61% for the Democratic candidate for Congress the year the Democrats took over Congress. I don't have the numbers for 2008, obviously, but I do have some interesting numbers from Alabama in the primary in 2008. Now, I want you to remember that the Alabama primary is February 5th, when both parties still had very intense primaries. 60% of people under the age of 30 chose to vote in the Democratic primary. 40% voted in the Republican primary. This is one of the most conservative states in America. The other thing that is very different about your generation, in terms of activism, is that unlike my generation, the civil rights generation, you vote in different patterns. In my generation, we built a movement based on suppositions, which were largely true at the time, about who voted, and which communities voted more, where you needed to do a lot of registration, where you needed to do a lot of outreach, and so forth and so on. For people under 30 in this country, there is no difference between brown, black, and white in the percentage of people that comes out to vote. How do you like that? And the reason for that is that your generation sees themselves as a multicultural generation. The first generation in American history to see themselves that way. And it's not perfect. This doesn't mean racism is dead or ethnicity doesn't matter or any of that stuff. But you tend to think of yourself as